If you believe that, you believe Elvis is alive and running a small bait stand on Lake Erie. You are a political activist, aren't you?
I would not consider myself that at all, Senator.
Okay. When you were sworn in as U.S. Attorney, you gave a speech, didn't you?
I did.
Okay. Here's what you said. I want to quote from your speech. But you should know that justice for me is about more than putting people in prison. For me, it's also about who votes and how hard it is to cast that vote. It's about where pipelines go. It's about where bus routes go. Justice is about whether people in all zip codes can get a loan, whether women have access to health care, whether citizens have affordable housing or clean drinking water. Sometimes those are Department of Justice issues. Sometimes they are not. But for me, they're all justice issues. Did I read that accurately?
I believe so, Senator.
Okay. Did you really remove the Tennessee state flag from your conference room?
Senator, I appreciate you asking about this again. As the chief federal law enforcement.
Welcome. Did you do it?
So I felt it was fundamentally inappropriate when I gave press conferences and similar statements to the public to indicate or suggest somehow that I spoke for the state, which I don't under our system of federalism.
Are you embarrassed to be from Tennessee?
Not at all, Senator. I am from Tennessee, grew up as a public school kid in Tennessee.
But you were embarrassed to have the Tennessee flag.
That's not it at all, Senator.
Okay. You have a history of lying to your professional colleagues, don't you?
That's not true, Senator.
Okay. Do you know a former public defender named Stephen Shankman?
I knew him to a degree. I'm not sure we ever had any cases together. I knew who he was, yes.
Well, in a private email, not meant for public consumption, to another one of your professional colleagues, this is what Mr. Shankman said, talking about your lying. He said, "It is unfortunate that this is not the first, second, third, or whatever occasion that this sort of thing has occurred. But everyone should be aware of this unfortunate pattern of behavior. You should be aware," he said to the other lawyer, before the other lawyer dealt with you. "Your client should be aware, and you should proceed with extreme caution." Was Mr. Shankman lying?
To the degree he suggested that I acted unethically, that was not accurate, and it wasn't in any occasion, much less on numerous occasions.
Okay, let's talk about this case, United States v. Von Rico Weber, which you claim to not remember. But before I do that, a few seconds ago, you lied to Senator Hawley, didn't you?
I'm under oath, Senator. I did not lie.
You said you have no knowledge of any complaint, professional complaint made against you, didn't you?
I said I have no knowledge of any sort of formal complaint, and he read from a letter that I don't believe I ever saw.
And you were shocked. You never heard of that before.
If there were a formal complaint, that, as I said, I had not known about that.
Okay. You were amazed.
I don't recall any of that. I recall this Mr. Weber's
case. You have amnesia about
it. Again, I am unaware of any formal complaint or investigation. Certainly was not.
You believe in the Tooth Fairy?
Senator, I don't.
You believe in the Easter Bunny? Now, in this case, United States v. Von Rico Weber, you lied to the defense counsel. And the defense counsel then had to go before the court and withdraw a plea for his counsel. And a complaint was filed, about which you apparently have amnesia. And the Justice Department replaced you. And the lawyer from the Justice Department who replaced you, this is what the lawyer said. The new attorney said about you. He said, "These allegations against Mr. Ritz are, quote, serious. And it is taken so seriously, referring to the Department of Justice, by our office. That is one of the reasons I'm here, and Mr. Ritz will be more than likely be taken off this case because of those allegations. End quote. You lied to Senator Hawley, didn't you?
I didn't lie to the defense counsel in that case. I didn't lie today, Senator.
Now, my good friend Senator Ossoff asked you if you'd follow the law. And you said, yeah. But if you're lying to us today, we're stuck with you, aren't we?
Senator, I have not lied and did not lie in that case.
You just have amnesia.
I did not lie in that case. There was a written plea agreement with the entire agreement of the parties.
If you believe that, you believe Elvis is alive and running a small bait stand on Lake Erie. Shame on you.
How you doing, Mr. President?
Hi, Kelly.
One of the many great things you did in your first term was put America first. One of the many, many great things you did. That isn't the case in the last few years, which is evident with the unnecessary billions of dollars in foreign aid we have given specifically to Ukraine. So what is going to be the solution to fix all of that spending?
Thank you very much, Kelly. Appreciate it. I like that question. I like this guy. I can tell. But he's a man of common sense. I'm a man of common sense. You know, they say you're conservative, you're liberal, you're this, you're that. No. We're people of common sense. We need borders. We don't want to give foreign aid to countries that hate us. I mean, we're giving foreign aid to countries that hate us. If you look at the numbers in terms of the billions and even trillions of dollars that we give to foreign aid, and yet we don't protect our own border. We don't protect our own military. We have the greatest, I knocked out ISIS. Everyone said it would take 4 years. It took me 3 months to knock out, totally decimate ISIS. We took out Soleimani. We took out al-Baghdadi. We did a job like nobody's ever done.
So you wouldn't be in favor of giving $60 billion more for Ukraine? Because they said without that money, Ukraine will definitely lose the war, which would then empower Vladimir Putin and endanger our allies.
And I guess the thing that bothers me most, it would have never happened if I were president.
Well, it did happen, so what are you going to do about it?
But it would have never happened. Putin would have never done it for two reasons. Number one, I said, don't do it. He would never have done it. And the other reason was oil prices were low. At $40 a barrel, it doesn't work.
What would you
At
do now?
$100 a barrel, he made a fortune during this war. So what I would do is, first thing I get on the phone is with the European nations who are in for 25% of what we're in. We're in for over $200 billion. They're in for $35 billion.
We spent about $100 billion so far, but it will be $160.
It's a difference of $150 billion. They've got to start paying up. It affects them much more than it affects us. We have an ocean in between us. They don't have that ocean in between. They have to start paying up. And you know why they haven't paid? Because nobody asked him. Biden doesn't call. Does Biden lie awake at night, sleeping, cursing? He turns for another reason, not for the reason we're talking about. Sweating, saying, we got to get more. We've got to get them to pay up because there's $150 billion difference. I feel very bad. Remember this. You're really up against a war machine in Russia. Russia, what they do? They defeated Hitler. They defeated Napoleon. They're a war machine. They're a much bigger country. Orban, who I think is a fantastic guy. A lot of people don't like him because he's a little bit on the tough side. He is the prime minister of Hungary. And he said, and he came out very strongly, they asked him, what's going on? The whole world is collapsing. He said, if the United States elects Donald Trump, it'll all end. Everybody was afraid of Donald Trump.
When I first read this, like $87,000 a day, how will you put up that kind of money? Because you have a bond to put up. Even if you appeal, you got to put up escrow money. That's it's a lot of dough.
It is a form of Navalny. It is a form of communism or fascism. The guy's a nut job. I've known this for a long time, and I've said it openly. No jury, no anything. Letitia James is horrible attorney general in New York, campaigned on I will get Trump, I will get Trump. We went through a trial. It turned out we're totally innocent on everything. And he fined me $355 million plus interest and other things. 355. And what we did, in fact, my financial statements were conservative. Everybody made money. There was no victim. The bank gets up and says, we love this guy. I mean, they
You
love
paid
Trump.
back the loans.
100%. No defaults, no anything. The bank asked me to, banks lend money. That's how they make money. They asked me, would I borrow some money? They asked me. I didn't need the money. I had a lot of cash. And what happens is this guy ruled that I was guilty before the trial started. He didn't even know anything about it. He ruled that a house in Florida called Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million when it's worth from 50 to 100 times that.
Would you give up one of your properties to settle this?
Look, we have, I wrote this out because it was so great. I just looked at it. People call up, all of your friends, the lawyers call up. They say, it's the most egregious punishment anybody's ever seen. Tim Scott knows that. He sees it. The Eighth Amendment. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. That's the Eighth Amendment. Excessive fines.
This is a state court ruling.
I have a fine.
Yeah.
I did business with a bank and insurance companies that loved me. They still do business with me. They wouldn't do business with.
But you have the practical. You're a practical man. You have a practical question, which I thought about a lot last night because it's such a huge amount of money. You have to decide whether you're going to put up that bond and escrow to appeal. Are you going to do that? And where are you going to get the money?
I'll tell you what we're going to do. Number one, I have a lot of cash, but that doesn't mean he can take it. I mean, you know what he did? I think he looked at my cash and he said, well, we'll take all of his cash. This is all coming out of the White House. This is everything that you see, whether it's that one or the DA.
In the
DA's office, in Bragg's office, he has his top people from the DOJ working in the district attorney's office in New York. Nobody knows that. Everything is coming out. This is all election interference. They're trying to damage me so they can win another election. They want to do
you ever just say to yourself, I'm done? This is what they. Why? A lot of people would have said, I'm out. Why are you staying in this?
I can't because I want to make America great again. It's not great right now, and we can do that.
You know why you can't fucking pay your bills right now? Why your shit is tight? Because these people stole the economy from you. And it's also that nobody can have any power. Like, bro, look how they tax us. Mm-hmm. They tax us with all this shit, but yet they print as much money as they need. So they take half of your money, and then they print whatever else they need, devaluing the rest of the money that you have. You see that? Right. But most people don't understand how that works, so they're not up in arms about it. If most people understood that these people are taxing us, and by the way, we're all taxed, when we add it all up, equal or more than half of our income. When we consider sales tax, the cost of ownership of property, tax, fucking tax when you buy shit, tax when you sell shit, income tax. Most people only think about income tax. But when you add it all together, you're paying over 50%, which means you're a slave to the government, okay? And then the money you're left with, they are printing trillions of dollars on the backside, which means the money you get to keep isn't worth as much. And most people don't understand this basic reality of economics. And because they don't, they're